Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Codex Reviews. My name is Tim the Terrible. This beautiful man over here is Wes Rebel Scum. Today, we are reviewing what is the number one rated movie in the box office right now. It is the top grossing R-rated movie in history. It has made almost $500 million as of this recording, and it is set to do even more, ladies and gentlemen. Wes, what movie am I talking about here?
The movie you'd be referring to would be Deadpool Wolverine, also aka known as Deadpool 3.
Exactly. This right here, ladies and gentlemen. You know the poster, you've seen it everywhere, and hopefully by now you've seen the movie. Now, today,
Spoiler.
100%, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this up right now. It is going to be spoiler heavy. Wes, remind them one more time.
In case you do not speak English, well, I don't speak any other language. Just know that beyond this point, you cannot get mad at anybody but yourself if you have not seen this movie.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler heavy.
Yeah.
Before we get started, let me get about 30 seconds worth of business out of the way, so that way you guys know where you can find content like this all the time, every time. Make sure to head over to @the CODEX Station, your favorite social media platforms, where we live stream 3 times a week and so much more. Hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss content like this all the time, every time. Once again, @the CODEX Station, right down below, right there. And if you want to look too cool for school, get something like this, head over to thecodexstation.com for all your Codex needs. Get some merch, meet the team, and so much more. Once again, thecodexstation.com, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Wes, one more time.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. Wes is going to give you a countdown from 3 to go, and then we are hitting the ground running. Go ahead, Wes.
Here we go, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Let's spoil.
There you go. All right. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, ladies and gentlemen. The synopsis, I mean, it's simple as Deadpool's universe is fading away into existence. He's doing everything he can to try and save that. And lo and behold, who does he enlist to do that? But yeah, that guy right there. That's about all you need to know. Let's go ahead and dive into this. So, Wes, what day did you go see this movie?
I went Saturday night. Yep.
Nice. So opening weekend.
And you went the day before?
I went Thursday.
Thursday. So you went
showing.
opening night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure did. My theater was full. I don't know if yours was.
Oh, it was packed.
Okay. Okay. So give me your thoughts when you were going in to the movie and how you felt as you watched, and yeah.
So as everyone on the planet has been, I've been very excited about this movie for a really long time. July could not get here fast enough.
Yeah.
It really couldn't, man. It absolutely couldn't. Of course, I love the first two. I've probably seen the first two probably pathetically 7 or 8 times a piece. You know, it's so good. I mean, really, I love those movies. Anyways, and Ryan Reynolds, you can't beat that.
Nope.
And then, you've got Wolverine and you've got Hugh Jackman coming back. It's like, oh, it's a must see, as everyone was thinking, So I went into it with extremely high hopes, which is usually bad for me. It's really bad. If I have high hopes, I usually walk out disappointed.
Yeah.
I did not. I walked out of that movie theater and I wanted to turn around and go get tickets and watch it again.
Oh, 100%.
I did. I think I told you this the entire time I was in the theater. I think I had a smile on my face the entire time.
I did too.
Yeah. And not just because everything was so funny, which it was.
Oh,
it was just I was just enjoying myself so much.
Yeah. So you went with your wife and your daughter and her boyfriend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a whole family affair.
Right. Minus the little ones, because
yeah.
Within the first 42 seconds, you're reminded, like, oh yeah, this is R-rated.
Yeah.
So, of course, in that first minute and a half, you're pretty much graced with one of the best fight scenes I have ever seen in my life.
Oh my
Backed up to a
God.
musical montage of, was it Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC.
NSYNC, yeah.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And it's just it's fantastic. It was fantastic. And him fighting with Wolverine's adamantium skeleton and killing these
Yeah.
TVA agents. It was
Yeah.
just insane. My daughter, who has very much my sense of humor, was just losing it the entire time. It was just awesome. It was great. It was a great time. My wife, who generally doesn't, I mean, she likes that kind of stuff, but she's not really. She can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
She was just loving it. So
I had a great time.
It was great. It was great. Yeah. What about you?
I went with my brother-in-law and my sister.
Yeah.
I go see movies with them all the time. All these big movies, I go with them. And I sit next to my brother-in-law. He bought me the Wolverine popcorn bucket, which I can bring over and show later, or I'll
Yeah. Why do you not have it within reach? That's part of it.
Pause, ladies and gentlemen.
I've got my ceramic cup that I bought.
We'll do some editing magic, and I'll be right back. I have returned, and I will show you what I got. Look at that.
They were out of those when I was at, they were out of them. They had some T-shirts, which I almost got. They had the keychains, which I'm sure everybody's seen.
I love this.
They had that when I walked into the theater, and I said, "Oh, I'll grab that on the way out." And of course, they didn't have that. Now they were out of the Deadpool ones, but they did have left. But by the time I got out, they were even gone. So I did get my consolation prize. It's a ceramic little cup. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Really high quality.
It's almost as cool as this.
No, not remotely close to that. But it is pretty cool. I'll give you that. It's pretty cool.
Well, all right. So I went with my brother-in-law and my sister, and through the whole movie, I was sitting next to him. I was nudging him and grabbing him when the cameos and things like that were coming on and all that cool stuff. So let's talk about that. This film is loaded with cameos. Not only does this movie do justice to the 20th Century Fox Marvel characters that were licensed, gives them the proper ending that they deserve.
And is cameo even the right word? It's almost they're cameos, but they all have a purpose.
They were supporting characters,
right?
So let's run that down. So when Deadpool is going through the timelines trying to find Wolverine to help him, we get a lot of that. We get to see Patch. We get to see a John Byrne version of Wolverine, who is in the middle of fighting the Hulk.
That's right.
We get to see Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. We get to see the Wolverine from the cover of Uncanny X-Men. I think it's 251, where he's stuck on the X. We get to see that.
Henry Cavill.
Cavalrine. And we get to see a comic height accurate Wolverine too. That was hilarious.
Oh, wow. Well, I think they were poking a little fun, but because he was teeny tiny.
He was 5'2".
Wolverine. No, that was short. But yes, it was.
But it was great seeing all that stuff.
There was so much that I have forgotten so many of these things because I'm a whole 2 days removed. I mean, there was so much going on. That's why, I was like, man, I want to go back in because I'm sure I missed things.
Well,
I didn't,
So let me see if you remember these cameos. So we saw Toad, played by Ray Park. He was there. Juggernaut.
Yeah, played by somebody different though this time.
And they mentioned that too. Yeah.
Oh, did okay?
Yeah, they're like, you look different.
Yeah.
We saw Azazel. We saw Pyro, who was a major character in the movie.
Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike was there. Sabretooth,
very briefly, but she was there.
Yeah. Sabretooth was in there.
The old version of Sabretooth, the 20th Century Fox version.
Yep, from X1. Yeah, he
who had no lines in those movies, but in this one he had like a whole 2.
Yeah, and then he died. Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
And then we got to see Elektra.
Yes,
She was
yes.
there.
Oh, that made my wife so happy. She loves Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
She
So
loves her. She was like,
we
"Ah."
we got to see Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Yeah,
We got
yes.
to see X-23 come back into the mix,
Yeah,
and we got to see Channing Tatum
as Gambit.
finally get to play Gambit, and it was
Yeah.
as comic accurate as you could get.
It was. It really
Yep,
was.
you had the
It was.
charges and the Creole accent,
Yeah.
and they made fun of that. Who is your voice acting or your voice dialect
Yeah,
coach?
yeah, yeah,
Jamie said that gave him
yeah,
tumors. So
yeah,
yeah. But I mean the cameos, this movie is loaded with them.
yeah.
Loaded with them.
Loaded.
Also, if you guys didn't catch it, I don't know if you did or not, but the car from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles
Automobiles, mhm.
is so you did catch that.
Well, I didn't until you mentioned it, I think, and I
Okay.
was like, "Oh, son of a gun, it sure
Yep.
was."
Yep. If
Yeah,
you've seen it, ladies and gentlemen, it's when they're walking up the hill and it's sitting over
yeah.
there in a pile. Yeah. So
Because
yeah,
they're
and
it's a very, if you guys have seen Loki,
yep.
which so my daughter was confused a lot with this movie. She's like, what's going on?" Well, she hasn't seen the Loki series,
Yep.
which delves very deep into the TVA and what it
Yep.
is and why they even exist and
Yep.
what their responsibilities are. And so I do recommend you don't have to have seen other stuff.
No.
However, there are things in this movie, such as the Loki series, which would tremendously help you understand
Timelines and the
the
multiverse.
TVA
Yep.
timelines, how they work, and what it means with when one's splitting off, and oh no,
Yeah.
that's a variance, and or not
Yeah.
a variant, whatever they call it, you
Yeah.
know. So
Variants. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, you don't
Yeah.
really need to see anything other than
No.
for nostalgia's sake, right?
Yep.
As far as you know,
Somebody coming in new to this, like brand new, they're going to see a lot of things that's not going to make sense. But if you've seen the other two Deadpool movies, you're pretty much good to go. If you've seen
yeah.
one season or a couple of episodes of Loki, you're good to
Right.
go. But it's not required. It helps, but
It
you
does.
don't
Yeah.
have to see everything.
Right.
So the soundtrack was great.
Spot on.
It
Fantastic.
was wonderful. The
Yeah.
whole movie
Yeah.
was good. It like you said, it's heavy R. I think it pushes the boundaries
It
right up
does. It
to the
does. It
limit.
does. Yeah.
Like when the TVA showed up at Deadpool's door and he's like, "Okay, if we're gonna do this,
Yeah. Which you've seen on previews, right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah."
we had seen that part. So, but
But he goes way further into that.
yeah,
He's
he
like, "We're
does. He
kissing
does.
this time, and
Yeah.
you're gonna like it. I want you to keep
Yeah.
that attitude.
That's
We're gonna
great.
do some stuff that Disney's never seen before." And he gives a
Right.
wink to the camera. I loved it, the whole damn thing.
Yeah, so it's yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I've got
Yeah,
my favorite scenes and things like that, but you
yeah.
just can't you can't take away from that soundtrack.
And
It was perfect.
let's not forget Chris Evans as Johnny
Yes.
Storm.
Yes, and they oh man, that was so
And you
cool.
can quote
Like
me on that.
you were like, "Oh, dude, Captain America,
Yep.
awesome!" Because he's in the TVA guys. If you as you guys remember, you know, he's there.
Yeah.
He's got his this cloak and his tattered clothes and
Yeah.
so everything's covered other than a part of like his arm or maybe his leg.
Yeah, he's got like
And the
wristbands
color,
or
it's got like blue and red-ish colors, or at least it makes
yeah.
you you're like, oh, okay, that's
That's
Captain
Captain
America. And he was
America.
kind of speaking
Yeah.
like Captain America a little bit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he goes, Deadpool was like, he's like, "Oh,
He's
he's gonna
gonna
say
say
it.
it.
He's
He's
gonna
gonna
say
say it.
Avengers, us flame on," and you're like, "Oh my god!" So it was so cool. It was so cool.
I loved it.
I like
Yeah.
how they were accurate in Pyro's powers. How he was able to
Yes.
literally suck his powers away because he's complete control of fire of any
Yeah.
type,
Yeah.
and basically burn him out. It was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So
It was good.
what was your I don't know if you've got a outline here. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead
It's
here.
all
What
right
was
here.
okay? Because I'm really curious to know what was your favorite scene. Okay.
My favorite scene, I think would have to be when they are fighting in the Honda Odyssey.
That's mine too. It's mine too.
Because like the whole lead up to that is Nice Pool shows them his car and he's like, you can take my car, you can do this, and he's like, what is that? That is a Honda Odyssey, that is not a Kia, etc., etc. And he just goes on this whole tirade of hating on this car. And as him and Wolverine are driving across the countryside of the trash heap, right? They come to a crossroads with themselves.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of have to duke it out, and duke it out they do.
And Wolverine, or Logan, verbally unleashes on him and tells him how big of a piece of crap he is.
Oh yeah.
It's no wonder why
your girlfriend, you don't have a girlfriend. Yeah, Vanessa don't want nothing to do with you.
No wonder Vanessa doesn't want to do. And I remember, and it was the best part of that for me was when when Deadpool looks at him and goes, "I'm going to fight you now."
Yep.
And it was like, oh damn, it's on, and
Here
it was on, and it was on.
And see, they fought in the car and nothing but the car. And I get what the allegory with that is. And Deadpool brings it up when he gets thrown in the back seat. There's blood everywhere. The windows are smashed out and all this stuff. And Deadpool's leaning back there and he goes, damn, the Honda Odyssey really does fuck hard. And I lost it.
And then at the very end, he ends up tied up. Yeah. So Wolverine ends up winning the fight.
Yeah.
But really, pretty much, he just stops trying to kill him. And he ends up tied up in the seat belts, and it's just a great scene. That's my favorite scene.
The whole thing. And when they go to the hideout where you see Elektra and Blade and Gambit, it just makes it even better because they each come in one at a time. They even mention Daredevil, and because I think Deadpool's like, what about Matt? And Jennifer Garner as Elektra, she's like, yeah, we don't worry about that.
He doesn't matter.
Yeah, he doesn't matter. And so okay, let's get into some ratings now.
Yes.
Now, Jamie says that Deadpool gets a 9.25 out of 10.
Okay.
Dan says it gets a 9 out of 10. So, Wes, what do you give Deadpool and Wolverine?
I'm going to say, okay, so there were a couple of parts. Well, one part that I was confused about, and then that they didn't really do a good job explaining, and I'll delve into that in a second.
Okay.
And then, or at least I didn't catch it, so maybe I'm just deaf or something. But
okay.
So I'll hit that spot or that part. So we're driving home after the movie, and I'm like, I'm on cloud nine because this movie is so great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the one thing I don't understand, and my wife is like, what's that? I was like, they really didn't explain why, or do a very good job of explaining why Vanessa had broken up with him.
That is true.
And why that was even because if you remember the first two movies, man, they were like, not only were they lovers, they were best friends, and they were going to have a family together. He did everything to save her life. He was devastated when there's absolute true love there.
Yeah. And then go ahead.
Right. And then, so you're like, why the hell aren't they together anymore? And my wife, because I guess she's just in tune to that stuff more than I am, she goes, well, I think it's because that he wasn't. So if you remember part 2, she would say things like, you're not ready yet. Like whenever he kept trying to kill himself to go to the other side to be with her, he's like, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. What she was trying to tell him was like, no, you need to live for these people. You need to be a superhero. You need to make a difference. You need to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, he had decided to not be that anymore because I think he didn't want to get her killed again.
Right, because in the movie, he's working odd jobs and then ends up
Yeah.
working for the
Yeah,
car
he's not a
dealership.
superhero anymore.
Yeah,
He's just he's a car salesman,
yeah.
and he's, like you said, working on jobs, and
I
just,
loved his
he
toupee,
wears
by
a
the way.
wig,
Yeah.
right? He wears a wig now, and he acts like a normal dude, probably wears New Balance, and it's but when she explained that, I was like, "Oh, so she basically said, I can't be with you anymore, even though I love you a lot,
Mhm.
I can't be with you anymore if you're not going to fulfill your destiny, which is to change the world." Because he had
Right,
basically
okay.
decided, and I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Now they didn't do a good job explaining that.
Right. Yep, I
But
agree
when
with
she
that.
explained, it to me sitting in the car ride on the way back,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that makes sense. So so because they didn't explain that very well, I had to ask somebody. I had to
Yep.
phone a friend. That was a slight hit.
Okay, so
The other slight hit for me was I like Channing Tatum in certain roles.
I loved him in this, I'm not gonna lie. I
For
thought he was
me,
hilarious.
it grew on me, but at first, for me, it was like cringe. Like
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
Now, just imagine if that movie actually got made, and we got to hear that for 2 hours.
Maybe, right? But at first I was like, "Ooh, me no likey."
Brother,
Uh, yeah, yeah, "Ooh,
ew.
gross, icky." But no. So, but, it did grow on me a little bit,
Yeah,
but so there's a little hit there, and anything else
okay.
would really just be nitpicking. I'm giving this I mean, this I made a post on Instagram and said, this is one of the best movies I have seen in a really, really long time."
Yeah.
It's probably
Top
top
5?
3,
Top 3?
top 3, and I
Okay.
have seen thousands of movies. I was entertained from the first minute
Yep,
until the last minute. I
yep.
did not want it to end, and I based it on that feeling. I didn't
Okay.
want it to end. I wanted Deadpool Part 4 to immediately begin, which I'm sure they probably won't ever I'm sure they won't ever make it, but, I really wanted to. So, I based my I haven't had that feeling walking out of a movie theater, I don't think ever, where I'm
In a
like, "Dude,
long
I gotta
time.
see more." So, I'm giving this probably an insurmountable grade for anything that I can ever see again. I'm gonna give it like a 9.8. A 9.8. There you go.
9.8.
I'm a 9.8 snob anyways. I'm giving it a 9.8.
This is a near mint movie to you, good sir.
Absolutely.
Alright.
9.8.
Okay.
Sorry I kinda rambled
No.
on there a little bit, but I'm just so, I'm telling you, man, it was
So
fantastic. Oh,
s
and not to mention, you got to see Wolverine with his freaking mask on.
and it
Are
was
you kidding me?
longer than 10 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
It
That
was
was
longer than
awesome.
10
So,
minutes, ladies and
I mean,
gentlemen.
what more can you ask? They did so much fan service in that movie where they reached it's like, oh, you're almost doing too much. Oh, but it's exactly as
Yep.
the right amount, and
Everything we
they
coulda
nailed it.
wanted.
They nailed it,
Everything.
nailed it, nailed it.
Okay, so I agree with you 100%. I walked out of this movie disappointed that it was over.
Yes, yes,
I had such a great time from the minute it started. Deadpool's already breaking the fourth wall by humming the Marvel theme.
yeah,
And it just goes from there. Like from that opening sequence, you know exactly what you're getting into.
right.
And it's a buckle up and enjoy the ride, right? And that's exactly what the hell this was. From start to finish, all of the cameos, seeing all the things. And I was very glad and lucky that I had somebody like my brother-in-law and my sister there with me to enjoy it as much as
Yeah,
I did.
don't
Because
go alone.
they're big fans too, and my brother-in-law, played along very well when I was grabbing him and shaking him and being like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
there's Blade, what the
Hey,
hell?"
you and me, you're going to our we're going together on the second showing,
Done.
right?
That's
Okay, good.
happening. But, like, he was smiling the whole time, I
The
was
whole
smiling the
time.
whole
My
time.
face hurt. My
My
face hurt.
My sister, as soon as the
Yeah.
movie was over, I leaned forward and I was like, "Hey, What'd you think about that? She goes, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. I was like, it's amazing. So yeah, the feeling that I had coming out of this movie, I rode that all the way home
Me
and
too.
into the next day. This movie is everything I wanted for an ending to the Fox universe of Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And they did those characters justice, and
Yes.
they gave them their final fight, and it was amazing
And by
and
that, you're
wonderful.
meaning Blade, Elektra,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Gambit,
I guess Gambit, but
X-23.
the
Well, yeah.
X-23. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Gambit that never that
That
didn't
was in X-Men Origins,
well,
but even though it's not that's because that's the only time he's ever appeared in any
well,
kind
yeah,
of
but
live
that was a
action,
different
right?
actor. But
Different
Channing
actor.
Tatum's Gambit was supposed to happen, went into pre-production, got
Oh,
canceled.
okay. Okay, see, I
And
didn't know
so
that. Okay,
this is what could have been. And the
gotcha.
amount of effort they put into having him there was amazing. And
Yeah,
seeing him walk out, I I loved it. I loved it.
yeah.
And I loved every bit of Channing Tatum being on screen. I was not disappointed in
Mhm.
that at all. So with this, and like my nitpicks are incredibly small. Like if at all, I think the only major gripe that I would have is what you described before about them not really going into enough detail about why him and Vanessa weren't together. I know
Yeah,
they
because
had
that's kind
this.
of a big deal, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
that the whole part Deadpool Part 2 pretty
yeah,
much surrounded the fact that it was centered around
yeah,
their love and
yeah,
his loss of her,
yep,
and then him, of course, going back and eventually saving her, I
and
guess,
I know in Deadpool 3 that they had that one short scene where they were sitting at the table and he was like, "If you don't love me, tell me you don't love me." And it was so short and there was not enough information there, and that
Yeah.
have been better.
And then,
But
the main baddie went into his what was her name? Charles
Cassandra
Xavier.
Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why could I not remember that? When she had gone into his head, but then manipulated the memory as like,
Yeah.
he's like, "That's not how it happened," and,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
but still you're like, "Damn," but
Yeah.
really it's still no real explanation. So yes,
Yeah.
continue. Yeah.
So, but with even with that, I don't think that that can knock my grade because it wasn't enough to take me out of the experience. It wasn't enough to make me question
Mhm.
or anything until after the fact, right? So I'm basing it completely off of the entire time that I was in there and all that. So with that, the amount of fun that I had, the amount of excitement and joy that I had, and watching it with people that were as passionate about this as I was. Wes, I'm sorry, but this is a gem mint for me, buddy. This is a 10 out of 10. Yeah,
Nice. And you know what? I can't argue with that.
this
And again,
is
I was nitpicking, but
yeah,
I'm giving it a 9.8 just because it felt right. But
right.
yeah, so
This is like you said. I think there are certain superhero movies that set the bar for movies to come. Right? You had
yeah,
Superman the movie that did it, Batman '89,
in
Spider
game,
Man 2, The Dark Knight, Infinity War and Endgame, and No Way Home. Right?
No Way Home. Yeah,
Those 7 movies. Deadpool 3 now falls into that category of movies that will
100%.
be legacy movies, and I think that this is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, and it is one of the top 3 Marvel movies ever made. That's what I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure,
100%.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Side note, I think I read or saw an interview or something. I don't remember now. That dog, I guess dog pool. What was his nickname they were calling him?
Oh, I can't remember the dog's real name, but
But dog pool.
it was voted the ugliest
Yes.
dog in Great Britain.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
and it is 100 like, I think Ryan Reynolds said, "And she earned it."
Oh, yeah,
So, which
100%.
is true. Oh my god, and the tongue and
Another
mouth scenes, it's like, my god.
Here's a couple other cameos. So Cowboy Pool. Do you know who
Yeah,
did the voice of Cowboy Pool?
I don't.
Matthew McConaughey.
No kidding. I
Yep.
missed that. How did I
And
not?
Well, he only says the one line, and if you're not really paying attention to it, yeah, I had to see
Baby
it.
Pool.
I don't remember who did Baby Pool, but do you know who played Lady Pool?
Yes. Ryan Reynolds' wife. What's her name?
Blake Lively.
Thank you, Blake Lively.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it is
and
not Taylor
and
Swift.
my wife told me that yesterday.
Oh, there you
Her
go.
her second favorite actress, other than Jennifer Garner.
There you
So
go. So gentlemen, take the ladies because their
yeah,
favorite actresses are
heck
in
yeah.
this movie. Yeah.
Oh, sorry to disappoint. There will be no Taylor Swift
No
in
Swifties,
this
not at all.
movie. No,
No.
no T Swift. Sorry, guys.
No no
Sorry.
Eras tour in this
Yeah,
movie.
you can tell the Swifties to stay
There
home.
you
She's not
go.
in it.
All right. So, Wes, you give this a near mint of 9.8 out of
9.8.
10.
Yeah,
I give this a solid gem mint 10 out of 10.
dude, that's great.
Our very own Dan, the Kelly art, gives it a 9 out of 10. And J Dubs himself gives it a 9.25 out of
Yeah.
10. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you give this in the
Yes.
comments below. Let us know how you feel about this movie and tell us how excited, mad, disappointed, or indifferent you
Yeah.
are about
I
it.
want to know.
We
I
want
want
to
to know
hear.
what everybody's favorite scenes were.
Yes.
Because oh man, there were so
So,
many to pick from. Right? There's the
oh, dude,
there's the one in the street when they're about to fight the not Deadpool
walk
crew.
into like a prayer. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah. With
God.
Liefeld's feet behind
Talk
him.
that right there for me is the best fight scene in any superhero movie
Because
that has come out.
what does he say? He's like, "Oh, you're putting on the mask." He says, "Only for killing," and he slips it on.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's probably the best fight scene in any superhero movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah. I
does
mean,
not stop.
it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable,
And
guys,
it's
unbelievable.
great.
Anyways, I'm rambling. I could go on for another 4 hours about this. So, anyways,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will no doubt be talking about this on After Dark for weeks to come. We're going to
yeah.
talk about it on the podcast. And speaking of that, ladies and gentlemen, Wes, where should people go so they can find us to
We can
watch us?
always be found on at www.thecodexstation.com.
There you
Please,
go.
please go there and find
Yeah.
all kinds of cool stuff.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, right there at the Codex station,
We've got them
like,
all.
share, subscribe, and follow. Yeah. And right here on YouTube, hit the subscribe, share, like, follow, everything that you need to do. And don't forget, we got memberships too. They are 99 cents right now. Well worth your time. You get a lot of cool stuff with that. And you can find all that right here on the channel itself. All right, Wes, let's get the hell out of here. Let's go fight some variants
I want
and
to talk some more about Deadpool. You sure we have to go?
yes, that'll be in Deadpool and Wolverine review part 2.
Okay. Thanks
All
for
right.
watching, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim the Terrible. This beautiful man over here is Wes Rebel Scum. This has been our review of Deadpool and Wolverine. We will see you next time. Oh, let me show this one more time just so you guys can see it. Yeah, pretty awesome. All right, we're out of here. Bye.